Hi, everybody. I just wanted to introduce you today to Allison Scott, who is an angel expert. And I'm really excited because we haven't really talked about that much, because I see things in a very simplistic view when it comes to angels. And I would love to hear what Allison has to say and to introduce herself, because she's been doing this for a really long time. And I'd love to hear her take on everything. Go ahead, Allison.
Hi, honey. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. I don't know about an angel expert. I work a lot with them, but
Comparison, you are.
So I've been working with angels since about 1998. I went to a talk by Diana Cooper, who's the angel lady of the UK. And she had asked for this little meditation, spoke us through this little meditation, and in order to meet our guardian angel. And I got Michael. And then she said, if you get any of the big names, it means the archangels. And I was like, nah, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Obviously, it's because that's the one that spoke to Mary. Meantime, that's Gabriel. So I got the wrong one there. So I kind of just dismissed it. Only found out afterwards that the archangels only work with you if your work is more regarding mankind. And so I learned how to channel in 2001, and then started channeling Archangel Metatron. So Michael and Metatron are the ones I work the closest with in my work. And I also work with some masters, the Master Almori and that. But anyway, so my work, it's interesting because I'm a healer. I do healing work, although all my work is relating to transformation, personal transformation. My courses, I teach a conscious channeling course and abundance course and transformation courses, but all of it is relating to transformation. Because I was surprised that if I'm a healer, why am I not connected with Archangel Raphael, which is the main healing archangel? But because of what my work entails, it's Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron more than Archangel Raphael. So the only time I've ever connected with Raphael, besides if I'm asking him something, when I'm doing healing, is just when I've been doing a demonstration of feeling the energy of an appropriate being for healing. And I'll be doing a talk to a whole group of people. And then I'll say, I'm going to do a demonstration so you can experience what it feels like. And then most of the time it'll be Archangel Metatron. But now and again, Archangel Raphael has also been there. And then as I'm feeding the energy to the individuals, I'll know which one is Raphael because the energy feels different. So I'm able to recognize the ones that I know and the ones that I'm not familiar with, but I always ask for what their name is. So the hierarchy of the angels is basically you get the angels, that the small guys, that work with the elementals, etc., that are working kind of with the planetary thing. And then you've got the guardian angels that work with working with Gaia, the earth, like an earth angels. And then you've got the guardian angels, which each of us has at least two. So some people call in more. A guardian angel is only for you. So it's not, I'll have the same guardian angel that you would have. The guardian angels are specific for the individuals from the time that they're born until they die. And their main job is for guidance and for protection. They're not allowed to interfere with anything. They're not allowed to interfere with your choice whatsoever. But they can try and nudge you in a particular direction to show you when you're making a mistake, And then you've got the archangels, which are relating to mankind, the whole of mankind, the whole of humanity. So their job is on a planetary level. It is not on an individual level. However, they work with individuals if the individual's work is relating to people, mankind, making a difference with mankind moving forward. You know what I mean? Impact them in a way to be able to help them. Otherwise, I wouldn't say that Archangel Michael was my guardian angel, because my guardian angels would be kind of lower ranking, but obviously he took that opportunity to connect with me then, although I wasn't aware, it only came to me later. I remember when she used to do, this lady that I worked for 4 mornings a week as a Girl Friday, she taught Aurosoma, the color therapy. And every time she would do a meditation and she'd say, okay, now your guardian angel comes next to you, take your guardian angel's hand. I was always doing that, like and I didn't know that the archangels are 9 feet tall. So I would always be aware that I was holding I was the child holding the hand. So Archangel Michael has always kind of been there as the work really started taking off for me, So that's just getting to the angel part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. So when I tap into somebody's like angels and guides and all of that kind of stuff, I see it in a more generic way. But the people that are the guardian angels, or the angels that are the guardians, I say they're forever. They're yours forever. They're always there. They're always watching, and they'll call in the archangel if need be. So it's almost like, they're the workers and the archangel is the manager, and they're going to call them if they need them. And then you have all the guides and, all of that, like way back there, just kind of giving power to the person. And that changes, like, depending on what they're doing, if they need more help or not. And they're just there for support, really. But that's how I see it, like in my head when I'm tapping in. And some people will have several, like 3 or 4 of the guardian angels. And then I usually see one archangel, but the archangel is like absent most of the time. That's what I usually see.
Because you've also, when you've got your guides, so you've also got a hierarchy of guides. So you've got your guides who are also like the guardian angel. They're kind of with you through this life. And those guides can be a grandmother that passed. And by the way, that the loved one who's crossed over that becomes your guide doesn't just automatically become your guide. They go into training so that they know they may not interfere with your free choice. So they don't automatically become, they go into training of knowing what the boundaries are and what the parameters are of what they can and can't do. So and then you've got a master guide. Now that's the one that can change. So let's say you're an accountant and that's your specialty of the work that you're doing. Your master guide will be an accountant. And then you choose to become a healer. Now that accountant guide is useless. Okay, now you're going to get your master guide is going to be a healer. So very often people get confused because all of a sudden they now have a Chinese guide or a Native American Indian guide, and they don't know why. But those are the cultures that are really advanced with healing. So we have an entourage of light beings that assist us, from guardian angels to archangels to masters. Don't leave out the masters. And then you've got the different guides that also help you. So it's fine if you ask guidance from your accountant uncle about your accounting problem, about your book, but you don't ask him for guidance about healing, because he's not clued up with that part,
Yeah.
So we have different beings, and they say for each soul group there are 7 masters and 7 archangels that work with us. So the soul groups are also quite interesting, because you can have overlapping soul groups. Like if you're a like for me, I know that it's 2 soul groups, because the one thing is I'm a teacher. Okay, so that is a soul group of teachers. Okay, and then but I also do the healing, and so I would be with a 2 overlap where it crosses over, so that because I'm doing both equally fully in every time I'm doing it. I don't know if you've heard any of my audios on Telegram, on my Telegram.
I'm sorry,
channel.
I don't have time to hardly listen to anything.
I can imagine, because every time it's hours and hours, so I'm very selective with what I listen to. So, but it's always, whenever I'm sharing information, it's always with the perspective of trying to teach, so people's perspective can shift and they can awaken what they already know within them, And so the angels are a very, very big role at this time, for sure,
Yeah.
especially with all going on. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a huge role. And we can put your Telegram link below too, along with your other ones. Yeah.
Thank
I so for me, I'm wondering about some of the people, because some of the people, when I tap into them, so what I do is I go to the subconscious and I talk to my higher self, who basically shows me everything. So the higher self is talking to the other person's higher self, and we're dealing with whatever it is they need. But one of the things I'm wondering is, a lot of the people that I deal with, they come through as an angelic. So they have an aspect of angel going on, but not that they're like a complete angel, obviously, because you wouldn't be able to be embodied completely. I don't know if you understand.
Are you talking about the people that you're doing the reading for? They appear angelic.
Yeah,
Well,
so
you
they
do know
come through as an angelic. They'll tell me like, you're that's an angelic you're dealing with. Like, that's what I'll get in my head. But
that the human is an angelic.
Huh?
That the human is an angelic. Is that
Yes.
what you're saying? Well, have you heard of the book Earth Angels by Doreen Virtue?
No.
Oh, it's a beautiful, it's a little book. And please, I know there's a lot of controversy about Doreen Virtue. I still have all her books, all her recordings, all her angel cards, because when she was doing all of that work, and I actually met that Doreen Virtue, the work was amazing. It was definitely inspired. So I haven't burnt all those things. The fact that she's now decided to go all rogue and be born again, that's her choice. But her previous work, they do not poo-poo that. The work was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And so in that, she wrote the book Earth Angels, and in that book, there's a quiz in there for you to answer that shows what kind of earth angel am I. So you can be an incarnated elemental, you can be an incarnated angel, you can be a walk-in, which means there's a lot of that actually going on, where there's an agreement between the two souls that they'll use the same body in this lifetime, and it can be more. And then the star person. So that, and I remember on the one Telegram channel, the one night, there were just about 10 people on there, and I was busy telling them about the book. And then they said, oh, can't you just, because I've got the book, can't you just do it for us now? So I said, okay, let's do it. Of the 10 people that were there, 9 of them were a 6 out of 10. They were all those things. And I mean, they didn't know what it was. They can't manipulate it, because I'm just saying, you color your hair often, or when someone responds, what happens? So there's no ways they could know what that's relating to, and so it was quite mind-boggling, because normally people are 2 or 3. So another level of stuff has been activated, I think, for this time, for sure. So I highly recommend that book, Earth Angels by Doreen Virtue.
That's brilliant.
Because then you'll understand why you, in fact, if you're doing a reading for someone and you pick up that angelic energy, I would say to them, just quickly do this, answer these 30 questions. Because there's 6 for each group. So if you get 4 or more, you are that group.
Okay.
So if you get 3 out of 6, then it doesn't relate. So then you'll be able to see, because that may be another level of information that they need to actually know. So there definitely are earth angels coming through. You know, they've always said that the angelic realm is never incarnated. And then I remember years ago, well, it was the same year. It was the same year that I, literally a week after I learned the channeling on my 40th birthday. So it was the next week, on the 21st of June, which was the solstice. I went for, the guy's name was Mark Landau. He was from America, and he came to South Africa, and he was doing a DNA activation. And so that morning he had gone to like a children's facility that had AIDS. There was all children. And he's very psychic, must be, because he went there and he said, oh my gosh, he said, angels have never incarnated before, but these were all angelic beings. And because their lifespan was so short, they could just bring in the angelic energy into our frequency and then leave. So I just thought it was amazing that they had, we feel bad about the children dying, but it was meant to be that way in order for them, because they're not meant to have necessarily a full life here. They
Right.
just needed to bring angelic energy through. So that was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So but obviously they're coming through more and more now. I wonder
Yeah.
if the fact that those people were walk-ins, that's why they were also an incarnated angel. Was it the walk-in that brought in, that is the angel? That would be interesting to know.
Yeah, that is interesting. I know we're all like becoming more and more expanded right now. So we're gaining different aspects of beings right now, almost becoming more and more whole.
Yeah.
And I feel like some of those aspects are also angelic.
Oh, absolutely, because we are that.
Yeah.
We're not separate. We are that. It's just, does that part of us need to be activated for this part of our journey? And if it is, it will be activated for sure. And I know lots of people are getting downloads. There's lots of people saying they're having incredible dreams at night, or they wake up in the morning feeling like they've done something. I said, because there's definitely stuff happening at night. So all the rest of what's happening and being reported, that's just keeping us sidetracked for what the work that's really going on, which is happening at night. And it's activating things in our DNA. It was so funny because I had an experience. They did a marathon on Lemuria and Atlantis on the One Channel a couple of months back. And
Yeah.
I've always related to Atlantis, never Lemuria. Lemuria was never, I knew of it, and in the first few moments, a woman just said, oh, can I just read this little bit of information? It was from some guy. I don't even know if that actually was about Lemuria, but I felt something happen in my body where my whole body was vibrating. I was thinking, I felt the activation.
Mm-hmm.
And then they played a song that was a song supposed to be from Lemuria. And of course, then they showed this video of Hawaii. And I thought, I've always felt connected to Hawaii. How come I never? And when I asked my guides, because I channeled after that to find out, how come? I found out now, all this time later, that I'm from Lemuria as well, that I also had that lifetime. And they said, you didn't need that activation till now. So
Right.
everything that this is the amazing thing, honey, whatever gifts we had at that time would then be activated now, because this is the time for us to incorporate that. So I don't know if you've been having experiences or your clients have been having experiences like that, but I'm sure you have, because it seems to be on a massive scale.
It is. It's huge. And so there's something that's happening that's coming in on the 21st of this month and then continuing. And basically what I see it as the beginning of the solar flash. But to me, the solar flash is all about information and light codes and activation. So it's completely beautiful. To some people, they see it as a scary thing, but to me, there's no destruction. It's just beautiful. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so it's starting in December, but the biggest part of it, the most powerful part of it, is in March. And then it's going to taper off through June. And I think there'll be a little residue of it left in the beginning of July. But it's going to be all this information coming in. It's going to be amazing.
Well, I had a bit of an aha moment listening to a recording of somebody's where they were talking about the solar flash. And I've had this resistance to that. And I'm thinking, I don't relate to this destruction of coming through and then it's going to switch off all the technology. I thought, why would that happen? I mean, the beings know exactly what needs to happen. That's not going to make us move forward. That's going to stall us. So I don't buy into that. So what is this whole solar flash thing? And then somebody said something, and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, our solar plexus is considered our sun. It's our personal sun.
Yeah.
Our personal power is our solar plexus. So when we beam out from there, it's as good, as powerful as a central sun, And so I thought, what if the solar flash is our enlightenment, is our aha moment that happens, and that's where the solar flash is from, and not what we actually think it is.
Exactly.
That it's an activation and it will be instantaneous. I have no doubt about that. Everybody seems to feel like it's got to be a whole long story. No. Everything is moving at lightning speed. It's if you've been walking north all this time and you should have been walking south. It doesn't take you that long to turn around and go back the way you came. You turn in an instant and you go in the opposite direction. And I truly believe it will be instantaneous. A lot of people are getting frustrated about people not being aware or being awake. And I'm saying, well, they don't need to right now, because the minute they do need to, they will be. We're all masters on the non-physical plane. We've just come to experience the most amazing time on the planet right now, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that's a beautiful way to look at it. And that's how I see it. I might not use those same words, but that's how I see it. And basically these codes that come in, I don't think everybody will be activated at once, but they'll be activated in an instant. So when the code comes for them, it'll just be instant for them. And it's going to be really beautiful to watch. I've met a few people who've already just recently been activated, and it's just like a switch has turned on. It's amazing.
And because that's what I meant. For the individual, it'll be instantaneous. It won't be everybody at the same time, because that could be a bit chaotic.
Oh, crazy. It would not be good.
I mean, I've had some of the people on my Telegram channel who have said, you know, just a year ago, they were complete born-again Christian, like none of this stuff would have entered into their sphere. And now they're questioning everything. So it's like, it would have been very hard to convince anybody in that way before, no matter how much information you gave them. So the fact that they're able to change, and then they're worried about their loved ones. And I say, you're the living proof that it can happen just like that, you know, so stop worrying about your loved ones. They'll be, no one gets left behind. No one gets left behind.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It's beautiful to watch it. And everybody's learning what they need to be learning as they go through this process. And as long as they're asleep, like there's a lot of people. Do you ever, have you ever heard of Dolores Cannon and the Waves of Volunteers?
Ooh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So like the builders are not really awake, but they're awake in a different way, you know, the kids. And the bridge is in between. So, you know, we're in the healer group or the warrior group, depending, you know, but we're a little older, and the builders are coming in and they're telling us things that are just like amazing. Little kids, and they just come up, they spout off this information, and you're just like, wow. But they're activated. They've been activated since they were born.
Well, the other thing is too, that we are, in any given moment, we are the sum total of every existence we've ever been in our DNA right now. So we don't have to speak. We just have to be in a space, and you are radiating that out. You cannot not be affecting everything around you. So the people that may appear the most asleep may be doing the biggest amount of work by just being wherever they're at. So to me, none of us are not doing the work. Everybody is. It's just that people expect, if people are doing the work, they expect to look a certain way or be behaving in a certain way, not understanding that they just need to be being. They don't need to be screaming and shouting and shaking the people to say they need to wake up. No, they just need to be. They just need to be. And if they understand that they are radiating who and what they are in any given moment, and it doesn't just stop in your little space where you are, it's radiating out in your entire community, and it can be a few kilometers. Like when we are communicating here, the impact where two or more are gathered is much bigger. I mean, if we could see energetically from a satellite, we'd be able to see the reach that we're getting, and that's just with the two of us talking, because we're in kind of a 5D consciousness when we're talking like this. So we're not in a 3D, you know. And I think that's the other thing that people need to realize, is that at the moment we are existing in both 3D and 5D. So when we're in a space like this, we're in 5D. When we start listening to all the other stuff, we drop into 3D, but we're meant to bounce back quicker. But we just got to know that both things exist. So sometimes people feel frustrated when no one's listening to them. And I said, but you got to understand, it's like a dog whistle. They can't hear you because when you start speaking higher stuff, you're speaking 5D. You need to meet them where they're at so that they can absorb it. You know, and then of course the kids, it's easy for the kids to do it, because the people get drawn in straight away because they're just a walking heart, you know. So one starts, oh, look at that, they're so cute, and you know, so they automatically instantly connect more so because it opens up the heart center of the human, of the adult. They instantly are impacted more so than they would with another adult. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's a great way to explain
amazing.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you dealt with any children recently? I'm just kind of curious. Like, I haven't been dealing with little kids, but the things that I hear from others about their own children is just amazing. But have you dealt with any that are saying like crazy, amazing things?
No, but
Recently?
I've heard lots of people talking about what their kids are saying. That's amazing, crazy things.
Yeah.
My two granddaughters are very respectful of my son knows all about my kind of stuff, but my daughter-in-law has come more from a religious background, so I don't try to push the limits. And maybe that's just as well that it keeps a handbrake on me regarding my grandchildren, because I think I'd make their lives hell. What can you see now? Who can you see? Can you see anybody there?
Right.
Come, let's go in the garden. Can you see any fairies? So maybe it's just as well. But I hear them make certain comments about Disney movies that they're watching. Like my oldest is 8 years old and my youngest granddaughter's 5. And so the younger one had said something about, how do you know that, Granny? Or something like that. And the older one said, you know, Granny knows everything. She knows, she was small like us. And then she got bigger and then she was like Dad. And now she's older. So grannies know everything. I was absolutely gobsmacked because you know how kids are. They normally grow up thinking older people know nothing, you know. And so I thought to myself, the insight was amazing. And so I know a lot of people have issues with the cartoon movies, but a lot of them have really, really, really good information, because I believe what people may have meant for evil, God used for good. I don't know what that thing is in the Bible.
Yeah, and a lot, yeah.
Meant for evil, God used for good, something along those lines. Because I know there's some really amazing movies that teach stories, like the one about the house. I've forgotten what the name of the one is, about the house. And the girl, everybody gets a gift. When they're small, they go up to the door and they go to the door and then they're given their gift. But the main girl doesn't get the gift. But right at the end, everything collapses, everything goes wrong. And she's the one that saves it, because her gifts were not as obvious as what the others were. So my granddaughter says to me, you know what, Granny, you may not think you're gifted, or you may not look gifted to other people, but your gift may be the most important gift, even though nobody can see it. You couldn't have said something to have a child register that, you know. So a lot of movies are awakening them to things that they see things differently, where you see them behaving more compassionately with people and with animals because of what movies they're watching, you know. So I don't have a problem. Obviously, we're careful with what they watch, but I love to watch it with them. And then when there is any negative, then I will say, now you see that, like that one movie, Riverdance. And in the movie, you got the guy talking to him in the cave and saying, you shouldn't have been here. So that'll be our little secret. So don't tell your mom and dad, because they'll send you away. And I was like, if anybody ever says that to you, you come straight to Granny, because we would never send you away. So if somebody ever says that to you, you come straight to Granny and you tell me. See, so if there is something that's not okay, I invert it, you know.
Good.
Because you just got to be diligent, I suppose, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's brilliant to watch these things with them too, because then I feel like movies have been mostly disclosure. So there's all this disclosure, and there is a lot of negativity, but if you can transmute it at the same time, then it never gets into the subconscious and it's not seen as true. So then you basically fix it right there.
I mean, you look at Frozen 2, that Frozen 2 movie where Ether was the fifth element and she was the fifth element. But in the movie, it's talking about water carries all the information. That in the water, every lot of information was like, My jaw hung
Right?
open. They're revealing all the spiritual stuff. It's amazing. Absolutely
It is
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah.
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 I just love that. Yeah, it's interesting because movies are coming more and more to the forefront lately. I know when we talk about certain things, I'll say if you want to learn more about that, go to this movie and watch it, and then you'll understand it better. Because I'm usually giving like a general outline of information when I'm talking. And that way it helps people go and like delve into it if they want to.
But isn't it amazing that that you've been given the movies as part of your tools in order to get much? You wouldn't be able to tell that or them all that information in a session. So that's beautiful. And I think that if you look at everything, that's kind of how it's working. Go and read this book, go and check that out, go and have a look. I mean, all the things that we could possibly need is available, whereas before it never was. It was all mystery school stuff that was too difficult to try and dig through.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that. And then also we're seeing it in a different way. I don't think we're as vulnerable to all the frequencies and all the stuff that was like negative. So we're not hypnotized as we're watching anymore. We're actually looking for clues all the time. I know I sit down with a notebook in front of a movie and my husband thinks I'm crazy, but it helps me like dissect what I'm seeing, and it gives me clues to ask about more things too.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's a lot of fun.
It is.
I feel like life in general is a lot of fun right now, even though it looks like chaos, but it's about to get a little more chaotic looking, but then better and better and better. That's what I see happening.
Yeah, I had an aha moment yesterday. I was listening to one of the talks, and I can't remember what the guy had said. And he was talking about the programming or whatever. And I suddenly realized, oh my gosh, when we're in a higher, because they say, oh, we all program because we've watched the TV. Well, we've all watched the TV. Why are we not programmed? Why are we not? Why aren't we led astray like everybody else is? What's different with us? Although there are definitely other factors as well. But the point is, if you're in a higher vibrational frequency, the programming cannot be activated. It neutralizes the program. And I try to say to people, stop listening to all the intel, stop listening to all the stuff. Just find a way to make yourself feel good. Play music. If you can't find anything decent to listen to on Telegram or on YouTube, then play music, just whatever makes your heart sing. Just don't allow yourself, because it's amazing how you can feel so good, and then you go down a little rabbit hole, and the next thing, the bottom falls out, and you're right back where you started. So why even flirt with that? Why? It makes no difference, I keep on saying to people, with all the intel, I refuse to listen to the intel. Tell me when it's actually happened. Not it could be, it's tomorrow, it's today, it's tonight. And I said, if I ask you in a month's time, so what's happened? It's exactly the same. But guess what? I've had a lot more fun than you, because you've been going on this roller coaster ride. So just stay with what makes you feel happy, because it's an amazing ride, honey. My gosh, it's an amazing ride.
Yeah.
It's really the best possible time to be alive. And if your eyes are open and looking for just the good, there's so much good happening. So much.
There is.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. And if you think about what popped into my head was John Lennon and All You Need Is Love. So that's a frequency. And then right above it is joy. So the higher the frequency you can get into, the more effect you're going to have on all the people around you. And it just changes the vibration. And
100%.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful place to be if you can just get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the higher your vibration is, the more expanded it is. It's not kept in a small place, because you contract when you're in a lower vibration, and you expand when you're in a higher vibration. So you impact everybody around you. If everybody understood that, they would be so much more conscious of where they're at, because you don't want to influence anybody in a negative way, So they'd be more diligent about smiling at someone and, having a positive impact.
Yeah, exactly. So there's I had a client once, fairly recently. And she is kind of, has big emotions, right? And it came through from her higher self that was her actual superpower. So
Wow.
her emotion was her superpower, and she had so much power with it. So think about that when you're feeling emotional, and try and get into the high vibe so that your emotion can radiate out with beautiful, fun, happy things, because that's going to change the emotions of other people. They're going to feel it.
Yeah, because I've always said the vibration, because people think other people can bring them down. And I love the teachings of Abraham, where Abraham says, there's no such thing as an energy vampire. It's when you are allowing your vibration to be about what you're observing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at something and you react, that's you dropping your vibration. That's not that. Nobody has permission to steal your energy, Yeah. So the emotional part is really, really important, Yeah.
It really is. It's huge. And I think it's one of the things that humanity has in spades in comparison to a lot of other, I would say, races. Like, I feel like the emotion is so much more powerful in the human race than in other races of, if you believe in ETs or,
Right.
yeah, I feel like that's something that
with the
we have.
technology.
Hmm?
They went with the technology. They thought they don't need the emotional side. They'll just go with technology. And then they realize, well, it's no good having all the stuff if you can't enjoy it. And the only way you can enjoy something is with the emotions. And so that's when they realize, oops, we better go check out those humans, and we need to get with what they got. Let's go and take a little bit of the DNA. Let's see what we can do, and start doing some work to bring them back to where they were at. So and emotions are everything. And people don't know that, so they allow the emotions to be on a roller coaster ride, and it's like, no, you meant to try and it's not about controlling it, just steer it, direct it to where it needs to go to make you feel good, and if you can't do it in a space with other people, people think that they can go listen to all the negative stuff and maintain their state. And I say, you can't. That's like saying a tea bag if you put the tea bag into the boiling water, it can steep there, but it's never going to get connect. No, it's going to be saturated. So you can dip in and dip out, but the minute you're listening for a longer period of time, you are energetically tuned in. I love to use the analogy of the radio analogy, because if you are in 94.5 FM, and that's a bad feeling space, and 46 AM is a good feeling space, you can sit here for the rest of your life intending to feel good. You can't. You have to tune into that in order to move. You have to tune in. And the only way you can do that is by having yourself feeling good.
Absolutely.
Excuse me.
So true.
So, and if the more you focus on, because people say, how do you do that? The more you focus on good things, the more you're turning the dial closer and closer and closer and closer in that direction. In the same way, if you're in a good feeling space, and you suddenly start noticing you keep on hearing negative things, you keep on hearing what's going on. The more you're hearing it, then no, something has knocked you off kilter, that the dial is starting to move you in the wrong direction.
Exactly. And I think if you can control your frequency, if you can manage your frequency and try and keep it as pointed in the right direction as far as you feeling good as possible, that is like a really big superpower. So just kind of,
and that's
like
a good word.
Yeah.
That's a good word, manage. Because the minute you say control, people think they can't control it. They don't know how to control it. Manage is a really good word to use for that. Because a lot of people don't know how to manage it. And if you do, oh my gosh, you will transform your life for sure.
Yeah. Just pull it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Abraham used such a good thing, which I use all the time. He used an analogy that was relating to stop paying attention to things because you're putting that ingredient in your pie. Like if you don't want chilies in your pie in the kitchen, stop paying attention to it. Otherwise, you're going to bump it in. And he's saying, life is a smorgasbord. It's a kitchen with every kind of ingredient you want. You choose what you put in there by your focus, okay? And so he says, if you don't, they say, if you don't want something, you just say, not in my path, thank you very, very much. So whenever I hear something and I can feel I get a bit of a reaction, because I'm only human, I don't pretend to be all spiritual and holier than thou. No, I get pissed off at times, you know, I get triggered too, but I bounce back quicker because I know that's not a good space to be. And then I will go, not in my path, thank you very much. And I actually wiggle my finger like that. And I instantly feel the disconnect from whatever that situation is.
Exactly.
So that's a good little technique to use. Not in my path, thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you're with a friend, just saying cancel, you know, like if somebody's
cancel.
feeding you information you don't like in your head, just say cancel, cancel.
There's another really good thing that I learned in metaphysics in 1976, I think, when I was reading the books. My outer ear listens, my inner ear knows all is well. I don't know who had written, I know it was one of the metaphysics things, but my outer ear listens, my inner ear knows all is well. So, because you can't necessarily remove yourself from the situation. And then I was reading Louise Hay's book, Empowering Women. It's a really good book. And in there, she said, whenever she was telling people like her idea to do Hay House, and they were all like, oh, please, you can't do that. You know, you got these big, giant publishers. You're never going to be able to do that. And she learned to say in her mind, that's your truth, not mine. And it's amazing, honey. The minute, because that's if you're getting any criticism, if someone's attacking you in any way, you just stay in your space and that's your truth, not mine. It instantly disconnects.
Yeah.
Instantly disconnects. Yeah. Because those are such good, people don't know they have the power to do that kind of thing.
No, and it's like great that you're saying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the subconscious is still a sponge. Like, you know how from 0 to 7, you're like this little spongy thing and you're just learning all this stuff. And a lot of it is not quite right. Like it's kind of skewed, and that's where a lot of the subconscious blocks come from. But being able to say no to programming is really important. And the subconscious, you can talk to your subconscious all day long and change things in there for the better, because the subconscious believes everything is true unless you say no or yes.
Yeah, I actually, one of the sessions that I do are clearing of sabotaging subconscious beliefs and patterns, because so many of us are just we don't even know the reason why we react in a particular way is for something stupid way back when. I always use the example of if a child lost the mother, everybody feels so bad, so they buy the child a doll. The child's subconscious mind puts a doll and great loss together. Now, every time the child's given a doll, she's freaking out, which doesn't make sense because every child likes to get a doll. But in the meantime, it's because her subconscious mind is now expecting the great loss. And so we have many things like that. There was no, so it just went in as true. And then it continually tells us, look, you see, I was right, because it keeps on putting the wrong things together and sabotaging us, you know. It's like, no.
Yeah.
So the subconscious mind is and I love Bruce Lipton's work, Dr. Bruce Lipton. And because he speaks about epigenetics and stuff like that. And he speaks about the cell biology and how much things impact us. And he says that we are probably only consciously aware 1% of the time. So when we are talking like we are now, we are 100% conscious in what we're saying.
Right.
The rest of the time, when you're moving around, your mind is going, if the subconscious mind is running the show all the time.
Yeah. And it's all over the place. Yeah.
Well, that's also a little bit of indigo child.
Oh, yeah.
Walk from the bedroom you want to go from the bedroom to the kitchen to make yourself a cup of tea. And then you walk past and think, oh, yes, I forgot. I wanted to put that book over there. And I better just quickly check my emails. And I wonder if when you get to the kitchen and you don't know why you were there, you go all the way back and that's about an hour later. Oh, yes, I wanted a cup of tea.
Right. Yeah. That's me all day long. I have a calendar for a reason. Yeah.
Your list and then tick them off, and you need to carry it with you and say, okay, when I've done this, then I will look at anything else. You know?
It's so funny. I talked to another healer the other day and she's like, you need green jade because that's going to help you focus on your tasks and ignore the stuff in the way. I'm like, oh,
Ah.
okay. I better have my green jade at all times then.
but honey, you have to admit, in all those sidetracks, that's when other stuff comes through. That's when downloads happen. That's when, like, oh my goodness, I think I'm going to quickly write this down. I think we just open in that way, and we meant that's just the way we're still functioning, aren't we? So I think we're okay.
We're fine. And I get all kinds of things accomplished every day, but it's in a very funny way. And, you know, I love it actually.
It doesn't matter how we get there, as long as we get there.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And I don't think anybody is truly like ADD. They're actually doing what I'm doing, like bouncing around and getting other
They
things
don't
done.
fit into the box. It's just that they don't fit into the box. They were never
Yeah.
meant to fit into it. We were never meant to fit into a box. We were meant to question everything, you know? So ADD is fantastic. Bouncing off the walls is great. Just give them free brain and you'll be amazed what creative geniuses they are.
I think so too. I think it's amazing. Yeah.
Because when they find their groove, when they find what it is they really want to do, there's no stopping them. No stopping them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So whatever your thing is, don't feel bad about it.
And don't let the labels bother you.
Mm-mm.
They try to make the labels seem bad. No.
No.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
This was brilliant, Allison. I had a great time.
I'm chatting to you, man. Lovely meeting you.
Yeah. Oh, it's been beautiful. So yeah, welcome to come back anytime. And you know, let me know if you have something you want to talk about and we can bring it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And if you've got anything any subject that you'd like to expand on, you can always I can speak. I know quite a lot of information. I'm 61 now and I've been studying metaphysics since I was 16. So I've gone down many spiritual rabbit holes and all, you know, had a lot of in-depth information. If I don't know something, I'll say, no, don't know anything about that. I don't make it up as I go along, you know. And I'm the world's biggest skeptic. So when something didn't look right or I questioned it, I first made sure it wasn't right. You know, I didn't just dismiss it. So by the time I'm convinced about something, nothing can shake me on that, because then I've really investigated it. So if there's anything you think that you'd like to explore, you can always just send me a message and I can let you know. Yeah, sounds like a great topic. I'm open to all of that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Somebody's pounding on my door, so I'm gonna have to go.
Okay, good. Okay,
literally.
This is wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. It's been beautiful. I'm just gonna take the recording. Okay, bye everybody.